Hey everyone, welcome back to Life Skills Housing Smart. I'm Rebecca from St. Mary's Home, and today we are on Module 2, Finding an Apartment and Moving In. So some topics we're going to be discussing today is how to do a housing search, what a virtual apartment tour looks like, and what to look for when you are visiting places, interactions with landlords, what they can and can't ask you, as well as what you should ask them, moving checklists, credit checks, and references. So yeah, let's get started. So last week we spoke about different websites to look for places, and one of the options were Padmapper, which is a great app slash website that lets you input what you're looking for. So what rent you want, if you need laundry, if you need parking, what location, and it's a really easy tool to find places, get in contact with landlords. So right now I'm gonna show you guys a video of an example of searching through the app. So when you're visiting a property for the first time, it's important to make a good first impression to the landlord. So ways to make a good first impression would be arriving on time, dressing business casual, avoiding any clothing with tears or controversial words on it, don't smoke or drink before viewing, offer to take off your shoes when you're touring the property and wear socks, introduce yourself and strike up a conversation. You can get to know the landlord a bit more and it shows that you're interested not only in the place, but building a good relationship with your landlord. And of course, thank the landlord for showing you the unit and answering all your questions. As important as it is to make a good first impression, you also want to interview the landlord in a sense. You want to ask them questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Some questions you could ask are, when's the rent due? What's included in the rent? How do I pay rent? What are the payment methods and options available? Is there regular inspection? Would you be notified if there was an inspection? Is there a guest policy? Is it pet friendly? What are the rules for decorating? Are there any renovation plans happening in the near future? Any history of pest, which is very important to ask. How much notice would I have to give if I needed to end the lease? Is renter's insurance needed? And what happens if I needed to end the lease early? So these are all important questions to answer before moving in, just so you know exactly what to expect.
Hey everyone, my name is Alex, and this week for Virtual Life Skills, I'm going to share some pointers and things to consider when viewing a virtual apartment tour. So, with the COVID-19 pandemic, the option to view a unit in person may not be available. This presents some challenges around truly getting a sense of whether the unit is in good condition and will work for your needs. But in the spirit of 2020, we are adaptable and will make the best of the current situation. That being said, let's get started. So the first thing you want to try and get a sense of is the scale of the apartment. As you can see here, this unit has narrow hallways and low ceilings. Another thing we can notice right away is that this unit is in the basement. We can even see some people walking by there out the window. You want to keep this in mind, considering the foot traffic in the area and how noisy it could be. Like, is it on a busy street? Is it near a school? You may notice a lot of noise. Another element to keep in mind is that bugs like the glow in the dark, both of which are present in a basement apartment. So that might be a question you want to ask the landlord about the unit's bug history. Looking at the kitchen space, try and note what appliances are available and also try and note the condition of these appliances. So for this unit, we have a fridge, oven and stove, and a dishwasher, all looking fairly new. Also take a look at the counter and cupboard space. Does it look like you can sufficiently hold everything that you need and have enough room for preparing your food? Moving into the bathroom, again, notice the size of the space. Try and picture yourself getting ready and thinking about whether or not it's going to function well for you. Look at the condition of the toilet, sink, and shower. Can you see any mold, mildew, or cracks? Take note of any available storage. This unit does not have an under sink cupboard. It only has a wire shelf above the toilet. Is that going to be enough space for you? For the bedroom, be on the lookout for wall plugs and consider how bright or dark this space is. If there is little to no overhead lighting, you will need available wall plugs for lamps. In this tour, we only get a brief look at the closet. Think about what you will need to store in there and whether it will be enough space. One thing that you want to check the listing to see is if the landlord has shared floor plans with dimensions of each room. These are going to be super helpful when determining if your furniture will fit in this space, especially if you don't get to physically be in the space before renting. One more thing to note for this unit is the textured walls. Hanging pictures and shelves may not be an option. Again, this is something that you'd want to check with the landlord to confirm whether or not you are able to hang pictures and shelving. And my last tip would be to reach out to the landlord to see if they can connect you with any tenants who have previously lived in this unit. You can ask them questions about the functionality and condition of the unit and whether there are any existing issues that you should know about. If there is an area of the unit that you are wanting to take a closer look at, you can always reach out to the landlord and ask for them to send you some more photos, better quality photos, or more information about the unit. And those are my tips and things to look out for when navigating a virtual apartment tour. Hopefully this was helpful, and if you have any other tips or experiences that you want to share, please leave them in the comments. We would love to hear from you.
So let's talk about credit and references and why it becomes important when renting places and communicating with your landlord. So honestly, good credit will come in handy when finding housing because a lot of landlords will ask for a credit check. But there is a little bit of a loophole. If you don't have the best credit score, a lot of the times landlords will ask for a cosigner. And what's a cosigner? Basically, a cosigner is someone who agrees to pay your rent if you're not able to. So if you're not able to pay rent, your landlord will go to your cosigner who will then have to pay it. So options of who could be your co-signer, it should be someone who you trust, but as well as they trust you. So if that's a close person in your life, that works great. References. Why do landlords need references and who can be my reference? References are usually past landlords, but you could also use past roommates. It all depends on what your landlord prefers. And why do you need a reference? Having a reference shows that you're responsible and they'll be able to talk to your current landlord that you pay your rent on time, how you are as a tenant, all of that. So it's really important to build those good connections. So this is a really important slide. It's what landlords can and can't ask you because sometimes, just like everything, there's always good and not so good people, and sometimes people will try to just not do good things. So it's important to know what your landlord can ask you and what your landlord can't ask you. So what your landlord can ask you is I have a list and do you have first and last month's rent? Can you provide a credit check? Do you have a reference from a previous landlord? Do you have pets? Do you smoke? How many people will be living with you? In some cases, if you have a cosigner. What a landlord can't ask you is, are you on OW or ODSP? Are you married? Are you a Canadian citizen? Are you pregnant, have children, or plan to have children? What is your religious or ethnic background? What is your sexual orientation? What's your age? And do you have a disability? It's important to know what they can't ask you because a lot of the times this can be discrimination And that obviously isn't right, and it's illegal for landlords to discriminate against someone for these reasons. So if they ask you these questions, just know that this could be a form of discrimination towards you, and you might have to either find a new place or go to some other authority. All right, moving can be really stressful, so I find having a moving checklist will really help with the move and it'll just make things flow a little more. I have this photo of a moving checklist example. You can find a lot on Google if you just look at moving checklist templates. There's so many that come up, and you can follow that and go through step by step. Some tips I have are plan ahead, don't do it last minute. So definitely get it started early, get boxes, pack early. You can go to like stores like Walmart and ask if they have extra boxes in the back, and they'll be able to provide that with you. That's an easy and affordable way to get boxes. Sort out and donate any unwanted clothing or furniture. Do a little purge before you leave, just so you're not moving things that you really don't need or don't want anymore. Sell any unwanted items as well. Ask yourself, what will you need for this new place? Is it furnished? Do I need to get a bed? What do I need? And plan what moving company you will use or who will help you. So if that's either renting a U-Haul or having family or friends help you move, book elevator time if needed. So if you're moving into an apartment, I know that you usually book maybe like an hour or two of elevator slots so you can use that elevator to move all your stuff, as well as make an essentials bag of things that you're going to need the first few nights. I have a video coming up of what to put in an essentials bag, and it's a very helpful tip.
Hey everyone, Alex here, bringing you some more tips and tricks for housing smart life skills. This week we are talking about what you might want to pack in your essential overnight bag. So at this point, you've secured your move, you've got a new place to move into, you've done all most of your packing, and you got a couple of days to kind of get yourself organized before the big day. So one of our tips is we recommend packing an overnight essentials bag. So this is going to have everything that you might need for your first day or your first couple of days in your new place. The idea of packing an essentials bag is that you know where these essentials are, you have them easily locatable, easily accessible, so you're not having to dig through boxes and bags and trying to remember where you packed that thing that you need that you didn't realize you would need until you need it. So let's get started. I'm going to show you what I would have packed in my overnight bag just to give you some ideas. Alrighty, so first up, I want to pack my important paperwork. So this could be a copy of your new rental agreement. This could be passport, health card, important medical information, anything that you might need really quickly that you don't want to misplace. Important paperwork, really good to have on hand. Also, you're going to want to pack extra clothes. So you might want some pajamas or just some grubby clothes for doing your move. But just a few things accessible on hand, so you don't have to go unpacking all of your wardrobe if you're not ready to set that up yet. Kind of on the same page, you might want a little pillow and some extra blankets. This way you can be nice and cozy and settled in on your first sleep. So we also want to pack some essential toiletries, deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, medication, hairbrush, things that you need to go to really quick for your personal hygiene. Got that all packed up and easily accessible. Moving is a lot of work, as we know. It is quite stressful, and one tip that we have to kind of mitigate the stress or to reduce the stress is to pack some snacks, some foods that are really easy to go to, so that when you need a little pick-me-up, prepare a couple of meals. You can pop that in your oven, in your microwave, heat it up, and you are ready to go. That's going to save you time of trying to unpack your whole pantry, your whole kitchen, to kind of grab a snack or grab something to eat to keep you going for all that hard work that you've got unpacking and sorting everything out. Along those lines, you might want to pack some disposable plates, cutlery, some cups, or throw in a couple of your own, like plastic plates, spoons, that kind of thing. That way, again, you can kind of use these, go-to, saves on time, especially with the paper. If you don't want to rustle around for your dish soap, your dish drying rack, you can kind of eat off these for the first couple of nights as you're unpacking and finding the rest of those things. And we also have some shampoo, some body wash. You might want to throw a towel in here too. Didn't have one on hand here at the office, but a towel would be really good. And if you have a shower curtain, I'd throw that in the essentials bag as well, so that way you're set up, you're good to go, so you can have a shower, because you know you're gonna get sweaty and hot and uncomfortable doing all that moving, so you want to be able to go and enjoy your shower. A couple other things that you want to make sure you have on hand: your electronics, phone charger, rechargeable battery pack, any of those things. You want to be able to have those accessible. And similarly, your keys. So if it's the keys to your new place, keys to your old place while you're still kind of cleaning up and moving out, you want to have those on hand. That's what I've got in my essentials bag. So comment below with what you would put in your essentials overnight bag. As I was saying, every individual's essentials bag is going to look a little bit different based on what your needs are, but we'd love to learn from you and hear if we've missed anything important that you think, oh gosh, I moved one time and I would have loved to have had this on hand. So please comment below. We would love to hear from you. And stay tuned next week. It's our last week for Housing Smart. We'll bring you some more tips and tricks, and stay tuned for our next edition of Life Skills.
So one time I moved into an apartment that had the worst water pressure in the shower. So now I always check just to see if it's got pretty good water pressure. My other tip is to just count how many plugs there are around the space and make sure that there's one in the bathroom. It just kind of helps you get prepared and sets you up so you're not disappointed later on.
I think it's really important to keep in mind that when you're meeting a landlord for the first time, it's just as important that you're interviewing them as they are interviewing you.
My tip is to consider the long term and look at the schools nearby that you may want your children to attend, and think about bus routes and grocery stores. You want the neighborhood to fit you.
When you're looking to rent, you're probably going to have to do virtual tours right now. However, if they do allow you into the apartment to view it, make sure you check the seals along the freezer and your fridge to make sure that they're sealing properly, that you're not wasting electricity, and your food will stay nice and cold. Same with your oven, make sure that the door is there with the seal proper, that there's no airflow getting out. You can do the same with your dishwasher, check all the seals. And with your faucets, you want to make sure you turn them on, look for leaks to see if the seal's broken on those, and while it's running, you can look underneath to make sure it's not leaking, because you'll see it through the pipe. And then the last thing is your bathrooms. You want to make sure, I can turn on the light, you want to make sure that the seals are also working there, that nothing's leaking, and you want to flush the toilet to make sure that it actually flushes.
So my tip is to take pictures and document any damage you see on the floors, the walls, the cupboards, and keep that for your security deposit.
Alright, so hi guys. So my housing tip for you is actually about a website called Rent It or Not. If you Google Rent It or Not Ottawa, it's going to be the first link that comes up. It's a really helpful site because people can go on this website and review the places they've lived. And the website offers an opportunity for the person who's reviewing it to indicate if there's a history of bed bugs, if there's a history of roaches, and then they can just kind of fill in their own description with their own experience living on that property. So let's say, for example, you're looking at an apartment on 123 Rue de l'Église. You can go in, you can search that. One thing that I will say about that is that it doesn't always give you the search result of that exact address. So sometimes you can just try searching again with the street name and city, and then you might get even more options. I don't really know why that is, but that's just a little helpful tip for navigating that website. How I learned that tip was that I left a review on the website for a specific address. When I search the specific address, the review does not come up, but if I search the street name, it does. So you can see if there's a history of bed bugs, you can see if there's a history of roaches, and again, you can kind of get an idea of the landlord, which is also a really good opportunity to maybe ask the landlord any questions or concerns that you might see. on that website. So I definitely recommend checking out Rent It or Not before you rent an apartment and before you go view it, because that way, if you do have concerns, you can ask the landlord while you're there and then kind of navigate and feel out the situation for yourself and see if it's something that you're willing to work with or not work with. So that's my pro tip today.
All right, thank you guys for joining in module 2 of Housing Smart. Again, if you guys want to be entered to win a gift card, there's a link to a survey in the bio, so just fill it out. And then when you're complete, press done and email a screenshot of it to info@stmaryshome.com. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you guys next week for module 3. Bye.